Hello, Christina.
Hello, my friend. Good to
Please
see you.
introduce yourself for people who don't know you.
Okay, I am Cristina Spataro. I'm a psychotherapist and relationship coach, and I'm meeting weekly with my friend D.Lisa West, where we talk about all manner of things to share with you guys.
Right on. And I am D.Lisa West. I'm a dream doula, an artist, a teacher, a speaker, life coach, all that jazz. I'm a human.
I love it.
And before we hit record today, we were talking about how complaining is kind of the regular way to go. How are you doing? Somebody even like, my foot hurts, or my boyfriend is not nice to me today, or complaining. And I was mentioning that Light Watkins has a 30-day no complain rule going on with his followers right now, which I love so much. I once tried to stop complaining for Lent, suggested by my minister. She's like, oh, don't give up chocolate. That's easy. Give up gossiping or complaining, right?
I like that.
Yeah, giving up chocolate for 6 weeks, anybody can do that. Give up complaining for a day. It's really interesting when you start to think about what it is you're saying out loud and to yourself.
I like that. It's true.
And I recently posted this quote: all actions are meaningful. Stop the shoulds, create joyfully. And then I also wrote, enjoy equals in joy. So let's talk about how you can choose your emotions.
Well, you're getting right into my wheelhouse because, in therapy, we're always teaching people, guess what? You actually do have more control over your thoughts and your emotions than you think.
Right. And your thoughts create a feeling. So,
yes.
and let's just say feeling, emotion means the same
Yes.
thing today. So your thoughts create a feeling,
Right.
and we can do that. We can imagine this right now with our listeners. Close your eyes for a moment, listener, unless you're driving or flying a plane or something. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine that you have in your hand an orange or a lemon. Let's call it a lemon. You've got a juicy, ripe lemon in your hand. You could bring it up to your nose and smell it. In your imagination, slice it open and let some of the juice run out. And squeeze some of that juice into your mouth. Now, I invite you to notice whether your mouth watered when you did that. You don't. Now, go ahead and open your eyes. You don't actually have a lemon in your hand or lemon juice in your mouth, but you thought about it and your body had a reaction. And that's what happens when we have a thought that we believe, right? And our body has a reaction to it. That's an emotion or a feeling. Yes. And what I love most that I learned in the last couple of years is this idea that you can notice what you're noticing. So if you're feeling kind of icky, notice that. And then ask yourself, what was I just thinking about right before I started feeling icky? But take us there, dear therapists. How do you help your people manage their thoughts? So
basically, I help people manage their thoughts by first realizing they do have control over them. So when I do have people who come to me like with anxiety or depression, not surprisingly, their thoughts tend to be predominantly negative. And it's impacting how they feel about themselves, they feel about their lives. So one of the things we do, honestly, is journal. Okay, so every time you have a negative thought, I want the opposite thought. And let's work towards. Now, look, I acknowledge life is hard. And we're not going to be happy to, not everything that happens is going to be like, wow, oh, joy. But we can control how much we're in joy, regardless of circumstance. And I think one of the best examples of that is when you look at young children. One of my favorite hobbies during this pandemic is watching adorable kid videos. So if you ever look like at a little toddler or a little child, and they are literally excited just to be,
Yes.
they're not worrying about the next thing. They're so present in that moment. Like there was one YouTube that was just adorable. This guy was tearing up. I think he got rejected for a job and he was tearing the paper. And his toddler was laughing hysterically. Now here, this was something that could technically be bad. He got turned down for a job, but he found joy in the fact that his small child found joy in this torn up paper. And this kid had the most adorable laugh. And the more he tore up this rejection letter, the louder the kid laughed. And it was so cute. And it brought him in joy, despite the fact that he'd had this obvious rejection. So that can tell you that even when one aspect of your life or a specific thing happened that maybe isn't inherently joyful, you still have the ability to create joy, because in that moment, he wasn't thinking about the rejection letter in that form. He was thinking about, wow, I'm making my kid happy. The more I tear this up, this kid is laughing hysterically and we're having this bonding moment.
Yeah, actually, if you have little kids around, that's the only thing you need to do is go hang out with the little kids.
Yeah. This is why
help
I
them
love
make
little children.
Yeah, help them make anything, help them rip. I mean, they'll love ripping paper. They'll love just staring at the ground for a very long time and watching ants walk by. I once asked my nephew, "What are you doing?" And he was intently looking at the sidewalk. He must have been about, I don't know, 5 or 6, maybe younger. And he said with this little kid accent, he couldn't quite pronounce all his words, "I'm looking at these ants." I said, "Cool, what's happening?" He goes, "Well, I want to know if the red ants and the black ants fight with each other. So and he had a little jar and there were red ants and black ants, and he was putting them in the jar and seeing if they started a fight." Now, where did he even get that idea? But the ants were teeny tiny and he was a teeny tiny human. And there he was down at the ground, wondering if red ants and black ants got along or not. I also love to watch little kid videos. I saw one the other day online where this little kid is riding a bike with training wheels and he turns real sharply and the bike falls over. He like does a somersault, hands on his feet, and does a happy dance. And he's like, happy dance, happy dance. Yeah, he's not like, wow, I crashed. He's like, yes. I was like, okay, what was that about? He's like, because he landed on his feet, because he tipped over, we don't know.
We don't know.
But he's not like, well, I fell on my bike. He's like, yes.
I love that.
Yeah, because it's not what happens. It's not what is going on. It's not the job or the not job or the girlfriend or the not girlfriend. It's what we tell ourselves about it.
Yes. Yes, it is 100%. Because if you tell yourself, this is the worst thing in the world that happened to me, guess what? You're going to feel bad.
Yeah.
You're going to feel bad. But if you tell yourself, you know what? I'm disappointed, but I still have these other things going for me. I can have something else. So by giving yourself hope, you're inviting yourself into joy.
Right. And the theory is this: if you do one thing that makes you feel joyful every day,
yes,
you are raising up your vibration, you're elevating your joyfulness of life. Yes. You're just in that energy of joyfulness, and that changes what you think about. So you start thinking about things that make you feel happy and joyful instead of thinking about things that make you feel frustrated and sad.
Absolutely. And like you said, we're not ignoring it. Okay. We're not, because that's not good either. When people go into denial and they pretend, no. Then you're just burying it. No, you're acknowledging this thing. You're acknowledging what happened, but you're choosing how to frame it in your mind. And the way we frame in our mind has a massive impact, not only on our emotional well-being, but on our actual physical well-being. They've done the studies that how we respond to situations directly impacts us on a physical level. They even did this fascinating study on I want to say it was on housekeepers. So they did this study where they told, I think, half of them that the amount of what they're doing in terms of the housework and stuff like that is more than adequate to meet their daily exercise requirements, and their heart and everything is getting exactly what it needs. And then they told the other half, what you're doing is not enough to meet your cardiovascular requirements. At the end of the study, amazingly, the people that were told that now they didn't change anything in their routine. They kept their routine exactly as it was. But the half that was told what you're doing is creating greater cardiovascular health for yourself, they actually had improved physical exams. Like there was actual physiological improvement in their bodies because they really believed this.
Right. And there's a saying, I don't know, maybe probably from way back in the day, Earl Nightingale probably said this: if you can believe it, you can achieve it.
Yes, absolutely.
So even if you believe something that absolutely isn't true, you believe it.
Right.
So it's true for you. I heard about a study, and maybe it was a study, maybe it wasn't a study, but maybe it was an accident where they told these grade school teachers the opposite truth about the students' IQ tests. So they told the teachers that the IQs that were low were high, and the IQs that were high were low.
Interesting.
And at the end of that year, the low IQ students scored really high on testing, and the high IQ students scored lower because of how they were treated by their teacher.
Yes.
If the teacher thinks you're smart, are you?
Yes. Because when the teacher thinks you're smart, they basically translate that to you. And now you think you're smart and you're going to put that effort in. I mean, I am constantly amazed by just how powerful the mind is, both for good and for bad, what we think we become.
Yes. Oh, I saw this mind magician online the other day, and he was talking to 3 influencers. Ooh. And it was, magicians do this thing that's a trick, but he was doing a mind trick. And so he said, do you think that as an influencer, you're less influenceable? And they all 3 of them said, yeah. So he said, now I was here a week ago, and I've taken a picture for posting on Instagram, and I want all 3 of you to make a post today while we're here. And he gave them each a box of 50 random things. And he gave them this place to go take pictures in that had 5 or 6 or 7 different random rooms that were, looked cool if you want to take pictures in that room. End of the story is all 3 of them posted with the same item out of the random 50 items in the box they were given. They all posted the same hashtag. And then they're like, how did you do that? And he told them that how, when he showed them, like he just showed them random posts that he had done, his kid in a swing, they all took pictures in a swing. He talked about things that were cold. They all took pictures with the ice cube tray.
Wow.
He talked about things that were, whatever the hashtag was, that word was in there a few times. So he was he was basically hypnotizing them with his words that he wanted them to work with. And it was amazing because we don't realize how much we're influenced by thoughts we have that we don't even know we have.
Right. I mean, that totally gets into what you and I do, because what we do is all help people change their mindset, because somewhere along the line, people got caught up in a different mindset. I'm going to do a movie reference.
Okay, I'm getting a pen. I gotta write this down. Okay, go.
Okay, so this was from the movie The Holiday, starring Kate Winslet, Jack Black, Cameron Diaz, and Jude Law, and the late Eli Wallach. So the premise of the movie is that both this character Iris, played by Kate Winslet, and Cameron Diaz's character switch houses because they're both they both went through horrible breakup situations and they just need to get away from their current environments. So they switch houses. And Iris has been so put upon by this man that she is seeing that she's put up with a lot from him, and her self-esteem is not great. So she meets Eli Wallach, who actually, he plays like this writer for old Hollywood movies, and they become like fast friends. And so they're talking, and he really likes her, and he tells her the good truths that a good friend tells you. He's like, and because he's a movie, and again, he's also a movie buff, you know, and so he talks about how, you know, he's like, Iris, you are a leading lady, but you are playing the part of the best friend in the movie. Mm. So he's basically telling her, you're being a supporting character in your own movie. And this is like a revelation to her. And she actually says to him, all the years of therapy, nobody has ever said that to me. And I know I'm mangling this line, but she says, of course you should be the leading lady in your own movie. So somewhere along the line, and I actually wrote a blog about this on my website, the idea is if you're in a job you're not happy with, a relationship you're not happy with, if something in your life is not going the way it wants, did somewhere along the line you get the message that you are a supporting character in your own life movie?
That's so beautiful, because there's also a book I read that I think it was written in the 20s. I'm gonna have to look up the actual title, but I think it's called The Game of Life and How to Play It. And this woman said, life is a movie and you're the director.
Oh,
and
I
you're
love
the star. That. You're the director. So how do you want your movie to go?
Oh, I love that. What's the book?
Oh, I'm going to have to find it.
You're going to have to find it and put it. Yes, you have to. Especially
I could spend like, I could get out of the screen here and like look for it in my bookshelf, but I won't. No,
that's totally fine. But I love that, especially since she's saying life is a movie, you're the star. I mean, oh my gosh, she's basically saying what I'm saying.
100%. Well, and she's saying it probably before there were movies with sound, right?
Yes.
And I don't know when Soundies came out. Maybe it was
started like there. I want to say like in the 20s. We could look that up if we want to be accurate.
But yeah, because she's saying life is like a play.
Yeah,
and that's
100%.
You know, before movies. Before movies, we had plays.
But was it Shakespeare who said all the world's a stage?
Yes.
Men and women are merely actors.
Well, and if you really want to get esoteric, this whole thing we're in, this Zoom we're on, this room I'm in, none of it exists in reality, except we all agree that it does.
Right.
And I heard Byron Katie the other day talking about how she became awakened. I'm sure you know who Byron Katie and the work. And she was saying to this young guy, listen, one day I woke up and I was sleeping on the floor because I didn't think I deserved a bed. And I saw a cockroach crawling over my foot. And suddenly I wasn't anywhere. And so she was explaining how she was like yogis get it to this place where they're meditating and they're nowhere.
Mhm.
And I think Joe Dispenza talks about it too. It's like, you're no one, you're
Mhm.
nowhere.
Mhm.
You get into this meditative space where you're just a particle in the particles of the
Mhm.
universe.
Mhm.
And she said she looked up and there was nothing. And
Mm.
then suddenly there was a window, and beyond it there was sky. And then, like it was emerging from a scene in a movie, then there was a wall. And then
Hmm.
there was the floor she was on. And she said, I had to believe there was a wall, because if I didn't believe it, it wasn't there. And I'm thinking, wow, that is so profound. And, not all of us are going to have that kind of spiritual experience where
Of
where
course.
we're no one, but simply put, our thoughts create our reality.
Right.
So what are you thinking? What are you believing? What are you feeling in your body? Because a lot of people have thoughts they don't
Mhm.
think they're having a thought. They don't
Mhm.
realize they're having a thought. They're just like, I feel bad. Well, maybe you feel bad
Mhm.
because you're telling yourself you should do this and you better do that. And why didn't you do this other thing?
Mhm.
Those are the thoughts that are making them feel bad.
Yeah.
Or I learned this thing, you probably know this trick. I learned this thing the other day. So if you are having a repetitive thought
Yeah.
that you can't get out of, like a lot of OCD people do, that if you hold something in one hand, move it to the other hand, move it to the other hand, move it to the other hand, your brain can't get fixated on the one thought, because that one thought
Mhm.
is in one side of your brain, and this
Mhm.
crosses the right brain, left brain thing.
Mm.
So not only, it doesn't always help you if you're like, oh, I'm having a thought, I don't want that thought anymore. I'm still having that thought, I don't want that thought anymore. Maybe you need some other techniques. So what's a
Mhm.
technique you teach people to get out of a thought they don't want to have?
So first acknowledge that you're having the thought, because like you said, we have a lot of thoughts that we're not thinking about.
Yeah.
So when they are feeling a feeling, I try to get them in touch with that thought. And then we play with it. Okay. So let's change it. Think of it, okay, we're going to stick with our theme. Think of it like dressing out a set. All right, so you're having this thought. Let's change the set. What would happen? Let's change it. So you're thinking about maybe someone's feeling very low self-esteem and thinking about, oh, like having imposter syndrome about their job, that they're going to figure out that I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, let's change this. Let's say they think, wow, this person really knows their stuff. They are actually feeling impressed by you. Like visualize that. Visualize your colleagues, your supervisors being completely impressed by you. And
That's
they may,
beautiful.
they may fight it, but I'll be like, no, no, bear with me. Visualize it. How do you feel?
Yeah, and they would go from feeling super frustrated and scared
Mm-hmm.
to feeling empowered and proud of themselves.
Yes, absolutely. And it's literally that simple. Yes, bad outcomes are possible, but it's almost like life is a continual Schrodinger's cat. You know that
Yeah.
whole idea of Schrodinger's cat. Until you open the box, the cat is either alive or dead. You won't know until you open the box. So a lot of times we assume the worst. And a lot of times we assume it based on past experiences. Oh, this relationship's going to end. They're not going to fire me. They're going to do all these things. Why can't you assume the best? They think, well, I don't want to be disappointed. Okay, you're already disappointed.
Yeah.
How much better would it be for you if you actually came into it being hopeful?
Plus, I think a lot of people get scarred as children, and
Oh
maybe
yeah.
from their religious upbringing.
Mhm.
I remember being a little kid, and I loved the outfit that I wore to church Sunday school that day. And I said to my
Aw.
auntie, maybe it was some holiday, Valentine's
Mhm.
Day, St. Patrick's Day, I don't
Mhm.
know. And I was like, look, I'm wearing green. And she's like, don't be proud. And she
Ooh.
kind of scuffed me on the side of the head. And she goes, that's not what we do. And she wandered off. I'm like, Oh, pride is one of the 7 deadly sins.
Oh my goodness, you were
But
committing
I
a sin.
didn't know that as a kid. It's like,
Mhm.
so I shouldn't be proud of myself?
Mhm.
What the F? Of
Uh-huh.
course I should. I'm a kid. I'm learning how to do
Yes.
things. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And the sad thing is, and this is why, the old joke where they say therapists just care about the past, but no, you don't understand. It's not that we just care about the past. We recognize the impact the past is still having on your present.
Right.
So yes, we are very much wanting you to achieve the goals you want to achieve now. And we are very much want you to move forward. But part of what's holding you back is stuff you're still holding on to from before. I can't tell you how many times when a client is stuck in a particular way and we start playing with that a little bit, 9 times out of 10, it comes back to something from childhood that happened, like either some sort of bullying situation by the kids or something with the parents. It always never fails to go back to that. And
Yeah.
when we show that connection between what happened then and what's happening now, oh my gosh, I'm still trying to get so and so's approval. Uh-huh. So you get to stop doing that now.
Does knowing it fix it?
It is a huge part of it because it's like we talked before about the road.
Mhm.
We're so used to driving down a particular road, it's got the grooves and everything. So a lot of what we're doing is creating new neural pathways. So by changing your thought and creating new feelings, you're creating new neural pathways in your brain. But just like sometimes, like if we do the same route all the time, when we're not thinking about it, we will tend to go down that same route. So in the beginning, especially, you're going to have to remind yourself, okay, I'm not going down that path anymore. I'm not taking the train to Queens today. I'm choosing this different road. So especially in the beginning, you need to be a little bit more intentional because it's not as automatic. But eventually, you can create the new neural pathways. It just takes a little more intentionality in the beginning.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Beautifully said. So to recap our conversation, if you want to have better feelings, you need to notice what thoughts you're having and replace those thoughts. If they're making you feel scared, nervous, sad, whatever, replace them with the opposite thought. And I
Right.
love this idea that you can have an affirmation, but if you don't truly believe it, it might take 20 years to work on you. But
Oh,
if you
yeah.
say, what if, in front of your affirmation, your brain doesn't know what to do with that.
Right.
And so, what if I'm excellent at my job? What if my boss thinks I'm amazing? What if my partner feels so loved and trusted that our relationship is flourishing? Or what if, whatever your what if is, what if, and then your brain starts going, oh, what if? And the brain will look for reasons to agree with your new idea.
There you go.
Right on. Thanks for
I
your
like
chat
it.
today.
Thank you too. This was awesome. My brain is thinking all kinds of lovely thoughts about our chat today.
I love it. All right. Bye for now.
Bye for now.